guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. First off, I wanted to apologize for the lack of videos so far this month. It's been a little crazy with my regular job, but I'm trying to do my best to get some content out for you guys. I am still working on, like I posted yesterday on the community tab, a video on the Evansdale murders and some other updates. But this particular case I happened to see because this has been slowly sliding through the justice system. This case, this sweet girl you see on the screen, her name is Naomi Proctor, forever 3 years old. It is a horrific case, like many others that we have covered here. She fought for her life and she tried to escape from a San Jose church where her mother, her uncle, and her grandfather were allegedly performing an exorcism to cast out a demon, they said, from her. Yeah. And this was all back in September of 2021. Like I said, it has been going through the system very slowly. A lot more happened in 2024. Charges were filed, but they are just more and more horrific the more you read about what happened to sweet Arely. Over the course of 12 hours, she fought for her life as three of the most trusted adults in her world forcibly grabbed her by the neck. All the while she was being assaulted, she struggled with all of her might and repeatedly told them no. She also told her mother, probably one of the last things she ever said, "I love you." Her final moments were described in detail by the Santa Clara County District Attorney's 50-page memorandum, which I do not have, but I can get a hold of if you guys are interested. I can only imagine how much more disturbing that is than just the bit of information I'm gathering. It was filed on April 3rd of 2024. It outlines the DA's case against Arely's mother, Claudia Hernandez, her uncle, Rene Aaron Hernandez Santos, and her grandfather, Rene Trigos Hernandez. Judge Hanley Chu, he ultimately was supposed to make a ruling to decide if the DA had enough evidence for the case to move forward to trial. But like I said, it has been crawling like really slow. Okay, which is why there's another update, because their defense now is due to a 2020 California rule, okay? It's called the California Racial Justice Act of 2020. All three of these defendants are claiming bias in the death of Arely. Yeah. Like I said again, Arely, she died a horrific death on September 24th, 2021. Her body was riddled with injuries when the firefighters found her deceased on the altar of the church. Can you imagine? I cannot imagine what this 3-year-old went through during her final moments in this world. I really can't. Two of the first police department officers on the scene, they asked her mother, Claudia, what happened, and she told them that Arely was screaming and crying the night before. She was 26 years old at the time, Claudia, and she told the officers that she believed that her daughter was possessed. That's right. She believed she was possessed by a spirit or a demon. Claudia described how Airlie looked different. Her eyes were different. They looked empty, and it wasn't her. According to reports, when Airlie screamed, it did not sound like her voice, Claudia stated. And she went on to say, what I believe is that she was possessed, 'cause I go to church. I don't know about you guys, but if you really think a 3-year-old is possessed, I think you probably need some help on your own. Okay? Also, children typically, they're not like that. In my opinion, this sweet child, she was probably having a bad day. She may not have been feeling well. And yeah, her mom goes on to describe in many articles and things that I read from these reports that Airlie was always a happy-go-lucky kid. She was always smiling, always laughing. So I guess she couldn't have a bad day. I mean, really. Now, when Claudia tried to force her fingers into Airlie's mouth to induce vomiting, Airlie bit her finger, which I'd bite your finger off too if you tried to do that to me. After they calmed her down, her mother and her uncle took her to the church at 7 a.m. to perform a prayer ceremony. See, now this part, besides trying to get her to vomit, okay, which that, is odd, but I thought, okay, well, they're going to do a prayer over her and be done with it. No. Renee is obviously Claudia's sibling and also the pastor's son. They both called their father, which is the grandfather of Airlie, and then he later arrived at the church at 12:20 p.m. to allegedly pray with them over the 3-year-old. So these 3 family members, they forcefully grabbed and held her, little Airlie, to expel the demon that they believed was inside of her. Airlie tried to break free while her family held her in a Superman position, suspended above the floor. Yeah. Claudia told police that even after her daughter said, "I love you," she still believed she was possessed by an evil spirit or a demon. I think that Claudia is the one who was possessed, but I'll let you guys decide that on your own. After Airlie threw up, Claudia said they put her on the floor. Claudia said that this is when Airlie stopped breathing. Claudia said God made her understand that Airlie was not coming back and that she was gone. I don't know about you guys, but I've never had God tell me that someone was going to die and that I needed to help them get to that place. Around 6 p.m., Airlie's body was cold and her lips were blue. This was the last time Claudia believed her to be alive. Claudia told police that she waited 2 hours and then she called 911. I don't know what she thought was going to happen in those 2 hours, but she waited 2 more hours and then she decided to call 911. When officers asked her if she believed that she caused her daughter's death, she replied, "In a way. No, Claudia, I think you completely caused Airlie's death." Claudia told police that she does not use illegal drugs and she does not have a mental health diagnosis or treatment history. Now, those words to me are very written a certain way, because just because you don't have a diagnosis of mental illness or a history doesn't mean you don't have it. And she also has claimed that she had visions from God. And she wasn't actually arrested until January of 2022. She told a lieutenant On October 14th of 2021, she spoke daily with God for 3 weeks before Ariely's death. During this time, Claudia was praying for her, and God told her that he was going to take her. Like I said, I've never had God tell me that they were going to take someone. Claudia told police that God told her that Ariely would die on September 24th of 2021. God told Claudia this was happening because she was never meant to be a mother. Claudia said she didn't tell anyone about her conversations with God or her visions. I think that this is a premeditated murder, and I really still can't understand why this has taken so dang long to get through the system. I really, really can't. Now, this lieutenant that she was speaking to asked her how she felt about God's plan. She told him, "I've learned to accept what it is." Yeah. Now, her brother, Aaron, he has claimed that he has gifts from God. He was 20 years old at the time, and he told law enforcement that he attends church 4 days a week and that he has gifts from God. He also believed that Ariely was possessed on the day that she died, and he explained to law enforcement that Ariely was not the same. She was normally always smiling. Again, she couldn't have just been having a bad day or not feeling well, right? I mean, that would be the most rational explanation. He told them that he has multiple gifts that he believes God has given him. Those gifts include the ability to speak in tongues, the gift to heal, the gift to interpret tongues, the gift of seeing visions, and the gifts of reprimanding. He admitted to police that the prayer ceremony may have caused her death. Aaron, I think it actually was the cause of her death. You and your sister and your father causing her death. He said it was possible that the way he was holding her caused Ariely to die. He said there were times when God would tell him to squeeze her harder. God doesn't tell you to hurt children, okay? He doesn't tell you that. God protects the children. I think that these folks were the ones possessed, not Ariely. He told police that his sister Claudia most likely delivered the fatal blow to Ariely by grabbing her neck. And as far as the grandfather goes, Rene, he's 60. Well, he was 60 at the time of this. When he was interviewed by police, he told them that when he arrived at the church to pray for Ariely, and she was still alive, his daughter told him that the girl was going to die. Law enforcement asked him how Claudia could be so sure that her daughter was going to die at such a young age. Grandpa, well, he shrugged his shoulders and he said that he believed everything Claudia was saying to him. Claudia also told Rene, her dad, that Ariely was not a normal girl. Yeah. I think that these three are not normal. And I think Ariely was a normal 3-year-old little baby, and she was just being a kid. And there's something highly wrong with every single one of them. And I blame the most of it on Claudia, but her brother and her father, which obviously is the uncle and the grandfather to little Ariely, they are as much at fault here as she is. A coroner determined that Ariely died from a combination of mechanical asphyxia and smothering. Her injuries included brain swelling, blood in the lungs, marks on her neck, and injuries inside of her mouth. This is a murder. This is a horrific, torturous murder. And the fact that her mother and this family believes that they did something right and that God told them to do this, It makes me sick. These people are evil. And I believe they are the ones. They are the ones that they're possessed by the devil.
Quite the update in a story that we covered a long time ago on Sidebar. This concerns 29-year-old Claudia Alyssa Hernandez, who allegedly killed her daughter on a church altar during an exorcism out in California. This is a way to rid her 3-year-old daughter, Aurelie Naomi Proctor, of what she believed was a demon inside of her. Okay? But now this is the update. She and her co-defendants, her family, we'll talk about it, they are fighting to have the case tossed out under something called California's Racial Justice Act, RJA, arguing that this case was, quote, infected with bias. Let me explain that. So back on September 24th, 2021, 3 family members allegedly held down this little girl for hours and allegedly tortured her until she died. Her body was found by firefighters inside of this church that was located on 2nd Street in downtown San Jose.
Okay, so this is a church. Yeah, this is the church where this sweet 3-year-old pleaded and fought for her life, and she lost. Again, this is Law and Crime Sidebar with Jesse Weber.
A coroner testified at one point that Aurelie's cause of death was a combination of mechanical asphyxia and smothering, that she had injuries including brain swelling, blood in the lungs, marks on the neck, injuries inside the mouth. What happened to this girl is just unthinkable. The district attorney's office charged Hernandez, her brother, Rene Aaron Hernandez Santos, and her father, Rene Trigueros Hernandez, the pastor at this church where Aurelie died, charged them all with felony assault on a child causing death. And I got to give you an example of what I'm talking about here, so it kind of puts into perspective the argument that they're making. So this is from a filing from prosecutors, and it states, quote, during this assault, Aurelie Doe fought for her life as 3 trusted adults forcibly grabbed her by her neck, torso, back, and legs, smothered her by repeatedly attempting to pry open her mouth to make her vomit, and held her with so much force that she had internal bleeding and injuries. The evidence shows that while this assault was ongoing, Aurelie struggled to escape from her abusers. She clamped her mouth in resistance to the adults who were trying to pry it open. During the assault, the victim repeatedly said no, as she was fighting for her life at the hands of her mother, grandfather, and uncle. She told her mother, "I love you." When pressure was applied to her neck and torso, she was repeatedly rendered unconscious for moments at a time. This ongoing assault resulted in the tragic death of Aurelie.
I am livid about this. And I know many of you are going to be watching this video. This family has me livid. And the fact that they are claiming that God told them to do this, that even pisses me off further. It just makes me just so mad.
And as to why Hernandez and her co-defendants seemingly believed this little girl was possessed, again, going back to that filing, an officer spoke with Hernandez. Quote, she explained that the previous night, Aurelie was screaming and crying. Claudia said she knew it was not her baby because Aurelie was always happy. Claudia then continued to describe to Officer Reyes how Aurelie looked different the night before, saying her eyes were different. When asked if she thinks she caused her daughter's death, Claudia replied, in a way.
No, Claudia, you completely caused Aurelie's death. You, your brother, and your father. You are all murderers. Okay? And why did you think that she looked different? Because you were the one possessed. You were possessed. This poor innocent 3-year-old baby didn't do a damn thing wrong. She didn't do a damn thing wrong.
Claudia admitted that although she thought Aurelie was possessed, she had no idea if the method they were using would lead to the demon being expelled. Keep that in mind for later. Now, Hernandez allegedly told detectives that God told her that he was going to take Aurelie. Aaron, the brother, reportedly told police that he could speak in tongues, that he was divinely gifted the power of healing. Again, from the prosecution filing, he described what they did to Aurelie as an exorcism. He said he had previously done 2, but he had never done an exorcism on a child.
I've never done one on a child, but it's okay. She's just my 3-year-old niece. I really don't care if something happens to her. What the actual hell?
So Renee Sr., this pastor, was also interviewed in the weeks and months after Areli's death. He openly admitted to being in the room during the prayer ceremony, but said it wasn't an exorcism. When he arrived, they told him that Areli had an evil spirit. Claudia told him that the girl was going to die. He said Claudia had already bought everything because she knew God was going to take her. He described a dress Claudia had bought for Areli for her funeral. When asked how he could know this to be true and why Areli was only going to live to be 3, Renee Sr. shrugged his shoulders.
Can we say premeditated? Premeditated murder. Right there in black and white. Claudia, she told them, oh, God told me she was going to die. And she already had her funeral dress. She told her father, I'm ready, she's going to die, and this is what she's going to wear in her casket. I just am so livid, and I cannot imagine. I can just not imagine if Claudia truly loved her daughter and Grandpa truly loved his grandbaby, and the uncle, he truly loved her, his niece, this would have never happened. One of them would have stopped it. But guess what? None of them did anything except harm this little child who all she did was love them.
Renee Sr. said he believed everything Claudia was saying to him. Claudia said that Areli would scream and was not a normal girl. So you're kind of seeing different perspectives here and who knew what and maybe arguably who's blaming who. But that brings us to what just happened, okay? The attorneys for these 3 defendants filed this joint RJA motion. I mentioned it before. They want this case essentially thrown out under California's Racial Justice Act, that authorities have this bias or animus towards them because of their religious faith, their ethnicity, their national origin.
This is Claudia, okay? She apparently has a YouTube channel. Yeah. She posted this video in January of 2022. And this is talking about her daughter.
I want to mention 2 things. First things first, the giveaway. So for the giveaway, I told you guys to message me on Instagram with their Zelle or Cash App. And guess who did it? Drum roll. Nobody did it. Nobody hit me up. Nobody messaged me their Cash App, their Zelle.
So she starts this video off that's supposed to be talking about her now deceased daughter that she cared so much about. Talking about, apparently she had some sort of giveaway. She's all laughing. Nobody did anything. Yeah, everyone thinks you're crazy as shit.
It is what it is. It is what it is. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say you guys have another week. No, because I gave you guys a week, you know? And I don't know if people just have pride or just they just don't want to do it. So it is what it is, you know. Maybe next time on my next giveaway, people do message me, right? But for this week, like, it's okay. But another thing that I want to tell you guys about. If you guys have me on social media or my Instagram or Snapchat, I posted how me and my girl Evelyn made a page to support women, right? To support women, to give you guys advice, like anything that you guys need, like mentally, emotionally, like we're there, you know, we're there. And yeah, like I told you guys, I'm not gonna. I know I said I wasn't gonna tell you guys what to do, but if it's something that I know is gonna help somebody else, then yes, I'm gonna ask you to follow it. So yeah, I am. So if you guys want, you guys can follow the page. You know, I'm gonna put the name.
Nobody wants to follow your advice, anything, after you claim God told you to kill your 3-year-old daughter. No one.
And yeah, like I am so excited. You know, I am so excited because we have so many ideas. You know, and
we have so many ideas. Yeah. You know what? If this video doesn't make me sick enough when she talks about Early, the beginning of this video, talking about this giveaway and this, I want to support people and I have so many great ideas. Ha! I mean, that's just an, I don't know, you guys, I'm not a violent person, but it makes me want to punch her in the face.
Yeah, so if you're a woman or if you're a girl, you could follow it, and you could always hit us up. You could always message us, and we're there for you. But on today's video, as you guys saw the title, I'm gonna be talking about my daughter. Okay, I'm not gonna be talking about how she passed away, but I'm gonna be talking about who she was, like since before I got pregnant, when I got pregnant, you know, everything. Because I want to talk about that. I want you guys to know who she was, because if she was alive, I would definitely have her in my videos, you know. And yeah, I just want you guys to know, you know, who she was. But you know, because look, that first year, you know, she learned how to crawl. It's like, look, when she learned how to smile, she was like, my baby was such a happy baby. You guys don't understand. Like, oh, my baby. Oh, I miss her. I'm gonna cry. But
You miss her and you're gonna cry? I don't think she shed a tear over Early. Do you guys think she shed a tear over her? Her behavior in this video alone is just so bizarre.
yeah, the first year, you know, I think when she was 12 months, 11 months, she started to walk. I'm gonna try to post videos so that you can see her, and so you can meet and see how she looked like, what she looked like. And yeah, so she started walking, you know. And you know, during that time when she started, I remember when she started talking, you know, it took a while for her to learn how to talk, but she would say mommy or daddy or whatever. Like, she would just say that. But I remember when she started learning more and more, because look, since she was in my stomach and she was a newborn, I was always tell her that I loved her. And I made sure to tell her that I loved her, you know, and just make sure to show her so much love. And yeah, so when she learned to talk more, she would she learned to say I love you, right? She learned to say I love you. But it wasn't until she understood more, when she grew more, that she started saying I love you, like, to me so much. Like, look, the last year that I had her, she would tell me I love you so many times during the day. So many times she would just tell me I love you. And you know what, before I continue with that, I remember when she was like, I don't know how old is she, I think she was like 2 when her hair finally started growing. Because when she was like a baby, her first year, she was so bald. Because when she was a newborn, she had a lot of hair, but then her hair, I don't know what happened to her hair, but she was so bald and she had a little hair. But when she was like 2, I think, yeah, her hair started growing. And then when she turned 3, her hair was so curly and just so puffy. But yeah, so like I was telling you guys, like,
It's just so ironic that she's talking about how she said I love you a lot. Claudia, do you remember when she told you that as you were killing her? That she was telling you I love you? You are just a sick, sick monster, Claudia.
like when she started to learn more, my baby was such a sweet baby. Like, I don't think I've met a baby like her. And I'm not saying that because she was my daughter, but because my baby was so sweet. She was so sweet. Like, she would tell me I love you so many times during the day. She would tell me te amo, you know. Like, I was cooking and she would she's like, te amo, mom. Oh, my baby, you know. And I was like, te amo. Like, I would always tell her, you know. And she would always ask me, I don't know where she would come up to me, she's like, hug. You know, she would just ask me for hugs. And she was such a helpful baby too. Like, when she would see me cook, she would be like, baby, cook. You know, she would ask me to cook, to help cook with with the cooking.
You got it?
When she was doing cleaning, she would ask me for help. She would ask me to help. She would tell me to. she would ask me to allow her to help me. Yeah. You know, I think I have a video of her doing dishes because she learned to do the dishes. She just did it like I didn't ask her to do it. She just wanted it. She just wanted to do it, you know. And yeah, she was just like, every time she would want to help, you know. I remember she would love, like, in the morning, because she would sleep with me, you know. Since she was a baby, she would sleep with me. So every morning when, like I told you guys, like when she started talking more, she would be like, morning sun. She would say morning sun. And then she was so, like, she was such a happy baby, you know. She loved her friends. Like when she, I don't know, she's just like, she just had so much love to give to others, you know. She was just a happy baby.
She had so much love to give, but you had to kill her. Because you claim she was possessed. Claudia, your daughter was not possessed. There is something wrong in your head. And as angry and upset as I am about this entire situation, and that's putting it mildly, I truly hope you get the help you need, but in prison. Because you do not deserve to be walking free on this earth. First of all, your daughter deserves justice. And secondly, you do not deserve any further happiness at all. And obviously, you're still happy because you made this video, what, about a year after she died? So you were still happy when you made this video. Actually, it's not a year, excuse me. It was January again of 2022. But look at the way she talks. She is definitely not right in the head. Just because you don't have any history or any diagnoses of mental disease or illness doesn't mean you don't have any.
You know, and it's like, it's so hard now, you know, because going from having her every day to not having her at all, you know, it's so hard, you know. Like everywhere, it's always something that reminds me of her, you know. I remember when we would go to the store, she would always want to come with me, but you know, even when I had to go to work, she wouldn't want me to go to work. She would want me to stay with her, you know, but like I had to go. But the thing is, like, I was so blessed to have, like, I was so blessed with her dad because he would help me so much, you know. Like, I was able to, if I wanted to go out with my friends, I was able to go out, you know, because he would help me, you know. And he's such a good dad, you know. Like, he loved her. Like, it's a lot, but
This makes me wonder, what does Early's dad think of the fact that you murdered his daughter? What does he think? Yeah, I'll have to look into that for the next video, guys, because that is a very good question. What does Early's father think of Claudia and her family for what she did to his little sweet blessing of a daughter? But I'm gonna not play any more of this because her smile, her laughter just pisses me off to no possible end. I'd rather look at this beautiful face right here, Early. And again, the fact that her mother, and I say that in air quotes, thinks that it was okay and that God told her to murder this sweet, innocent baby. I just can't. I just can't. The amount of evil in this world, I can, as much as we follow these cases, and there's just something, there's something more sinister to me about this one. When Claudia is claiming that God told her to do this horrific torture to her baby that she's going on and on about in her 45-minute video, laughing in her car, talking about how sweet and wonderful the Airily was. But yet, she said, well, God told me that she was going to die, and yeah, I guess I killed her, in a way. I just can't, guys. I really just cannot fathom the thinking here. I really can't. That's why, to me, Claudia, you're the one who was possessed. It wasn't Airily, Claudia. You were the one. You were the one doing the work of the devil. All right, guys, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is a tough, tough one, and I know you guys are always there for these, and we need justice for this sweet baby. And all I can say is thank goodness that she is in the arms of the Lord. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.